In this episode coming up, we're going to talk about the fear of getting canceled. Is this something that you worry about? I know I certainly do. Let's break it down. Stay tuned. I'm Cristy Code Red, and you're listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle, where we believe food holds the power to heal or poison, and we believe our society has been misled regarding proper nutrition and weight loss. You're in the right place if you're looking for some straight up truth, because I'm here to shed light on the lies and brainwashing that has taken place over the past 5 decades. Thanks so much for listening. Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. I'm your host, Cristy Code Red, author, entrepreneur, retired professional boxer, being joined by Cari Thompson. And I got to clear my throat. Just a minute.
Let me clear my throat.
Yeah. I knew there was going to be a time where we would have to talk about this. And because I'm avoiding it. But it's been a long time coming. And today, the fear of cancel culture, it might not be something that you worry about if you're listening to this, but I can tell you that as a business owner with employees, I worry about getting canceled a lot because it's not just about me. It's about the staff not having jobs if for some reason Code Red goes away. And so I worry about getting canceled. And so I have to be careful what I say.
This is a hard subject for me because I'll never forget the time that I posted something slightly political on my news feed, and somebody wrote on Facebook, the nastiest place ever. Well, I don't know. TikTok is worse.
TikTok's pretty nasty. Yeah.
TikTok's nasty. Somebody wrote, Cristy, I'm done with Code Red. And I was so upset because that's my personal opinion. It doesn't reflect the opinion of Code Red. And I felt terrible. I deleted the post right away. And it wasn't even volatile. It wasn't like a racist thing. It wasn't even like, I hate these types of people. It wasn't at all. It was a joke, a play on my husband's name. And I thought it was hilarious, but no, it was not funny. And I got canceled by that person, unfollowing, and I'll never, ever buy anything from Code Red again. And I felt awful. So I took it down and I apologized to Cristy immediately. But I think sometimes we're so scared of getting canceled that we are afraid of saying the truth. And I have come to this place, Cristy, and you and I have kind of come to this place where we have to talk about the truth about health. We have to talk about the truth about what's going to happen to people if they continue down the road of eating packaged foods and eating sugar by the pounds and pounds every month. So, I mean, that's kind of where we are. It's like, we're so scared, but we have to be truthful.
Yeah, someone's got to say it. About 10 years ago, a documentary came out and it was featuring Mark Bell, and they called him Mark Smelly Bell. And since the documentary, he had gone on to create his own line of gym equipment, and he's made a name for himself, but he's always kept this attitude, and it was the race to 0 followers. And so he had the idea of just being so honest and so truthful and so transparent and so and taking a stand that he was planning on getting down to 0 followers. Like, he was celebrating when he would lose followers.
Really?
And the opposite happened. He gained followers. He got verified on social media. He became a multimillionaire. He's written books. He's done other films. But he's always maintained this race to 0 followers. And I've never forgotten that about Mark Bell. And I like Mark Bell. I mean, he and we line up on the same ideas anyway. We're kind of cut from the same cloth anyway. So I don't mind him at all. And I like his attitude about followers, because we do get caught up, and I do get caught up in it sometimes. And I have to constantly remind myself of people that, that the comments and the DMs and the nasty stuff that's said, especially under my ads that reach tens of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views. The ads go out all over the country, and they rack up a lot of views, and you can really get caught up in that whole thing of what people might think about me. And so it's it can really consume you as a creator, as an entrepreneur, as a company owner.
Can I ask, what did Mark Bell believe in? Like, what was his platform?
Well, I think he a lot like ours as far as real food, water, and sleep. And he promotes more exercise-based program, and we do this without shakes, pills, diet foods, or exercise. He takes a stand on politics, and I tend to not do that publicly.
Yeah.
I do take a stand on politics, but none of you guys, I don't talk about it here. And so, but sometimes I dream about like quitting Code Red, selling Code Red, and going into politics, just so, because but anyway, I love Code Red and I love what we do here. But so, yeah, that's kind of where the direction, it's all health. He's in the health and fitness space.
So that was his space, was being real upfront about what's going on, about obesity.
Obesity, right. He says straight up, obesity is not okay, and you've got to take control. He was obese, and so you got to take control of your health. And Cari, didn't you tell me that doctors are not allowed to talk to their patients about obesity anymore?
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where they're so afraid of getting in trouble that they don't mention weight. I'm amazed. I went into an sports medicine doctor, and I'm not obese, and I expected him to say, hey, if you could drop maybe 5 or 10 pounds, your knee would feel better. Now, that wasn't even necessarily the thing, but why didn't he mention it? Like, why didn't he say weight puts pressure on knees? So if your knee is bothering you, if you get a little lighter, it's going to help your knee. I would have been like, yeah, I mean, that, and Cristy and I actually had talked about that before I even went in for that visit, but he wouldn't talk about it with me, which I thought was really interesting. And I even said, well, I used to be 100 pounds heavier than I am now. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. And he really skirted around it. He did talk about it, but it wasn't like, yeah, when you were fatty, you ruined your knees. I mean, it's not at all. But I mean, that would have been a valid point, because that is how you wreck your knees. Carrying around, that's how you wreck your back and how you wreck your shoulders and your neck. I mean, those are all good ways to do it. Just carry around a bunch of extra weight. Why do women get breast reductions? Yeah, because it pulls on their back. Same thing with having a big belly. So I thought it was very interesting that he didn't say anything about that.
Well, cancel culture is a very real thing. People do get canceled. They do get their reputation ruined. They do get defamed, and it's really a serious problem. We've watched, Cari, remember the Dixie Chicks like 20 years ago, saying something about on stage about President Bush and something like, and
that was it.
That was it. Like the next day they were canceled, and they had to rebrand themselves under a different group name, and they never quite made a comeback. They never recovered from that. So cancel culture is very real. Now, people are getting canceled sometimes for ridiculous things, and they're getting accused of things they didn't do. And so in our opinion, it's taken too far, because people are so sensitive nowadays. You can't say anything. I know that I posted a picture when I was married to Miles of Miles standing in the garage holding something, and there was a corner of a flag of a political party, just the corner of the flag. Well, people recognized it, and I lost 50% of my followers overnight. And so it's just so funny to me how quickly it can happen. So it is very real, but how far do you take it? And Cari, I think that we were talking about Jesus back in the day when his 33 years on the planet, boy, people try to cancel him right and left.
They really did. And there are some great scriptures. I'm going to bring up 2 of them, but I do want to tell you the other day, Cristy, I got to tell you something funny. You ready?
Yes.
The other day, Dad says to me, I said, I am all this woke culture. I was talking about woke culture, and woke goes along with cancel, I think, but it's different. So I'm just saying, I was talking about woke culture, and Papa Larry said, so what does it mean to be woke? And I was like, oh, okay. And I had to actually think that one through. Like, I had to get on and Google it. I mean, I knew.
Yeah. It's like, we know, but we can't.
And he didn't know what cancel culture was. So he goes, and then he said, I'm really glad I'm not doing counseling anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, I want to talk about Jesus. There are two scriptures that come to mind when Cristy and I were first talking about this. And yeah, Jesus was totally unpopular. He, but he brought his message in love. He brought his message in love. And I think that's the difference. Sometimes our messages don't go out with love, or they aren't perceived with love when they truly are given in love. And so I think that when we wrap our messages in love, Cristy, that's what makes such a big difference. But the truth is still the truth is still the truth. And people are not always going to like what you say. Do you remember when Jesus said, a prophet is honored everywhere, but in their hometown? That's a paraphrase. But I thought that was really interesting. And there's another one. And I love this. This is Matthew 5:13. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled. You are the light of the world, a town built on a hill that cannot be hidden. Neither do people put a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, Cristy, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. And sometimes we have a message to share, and it may not be a popular message, and it may not be a message that everyone wants to hear. But when we package it in love and people know our heart, we cannot, Cristy, you and I cannot sit by and watch people become more and more obese. We cannot put a bowl over our light. We can't do it. We are called to be salty. We are called to be light. And if we lose our saltiness, I'm very salty. If we lose our saltiness, if we lose our light, the Bible says right here, it's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. And that is the risk we run, Cristy, when you and I don't say when you don't say your message, when I don't say the message I know we've been given, the message you've been given, the mission you've been given. That's what we run the risk of.
Was that that's got to be the amplified version.
Well, now I got to look.
Because the Bible.
NIV.
Yeah. Oh, okay. The new international version. Okay. All right. And so many churches nowadays, by the way, they're watering down the message so that they can appeal to a wider audience. And it's just really getting, and we were talking to Sis about this the other day, like, where do you draw that line? You're really getting into some dicey territory when you try to water down the Bible, or you cherry pick different parts of the Bible, or you'll talk about this, but you won't take a stand on that. And it's, oh gosh, I'm glad I'm not in the ministry. I mean, we're all in the ministry, but I'm not in the pulpit ministry, trying married to a pastor or trying to run a youth group or anything like that. I would not want anything to do with it. But being in weight loss is hard enough, because we do take a stand against obesity, and obesity has nothing to do with being beautiful. That is two very separate things. We're talking about pure health. And it's not okay to be obese. It's not okay to carry that much weight around. It's not okay to put that kind of pressure on your organs, your back, your hips, your knees. And we're going to continue to say that without judgment.
This is the thing I have struggled with the most in this position, Cristy, working for you. This very topic has been the hardest for me. It's been hard because I want to stand up and say, being beautiful and loving yourself and being obese are two different things. They are two different things. You should love yourself no matter what. But to say that being obese is okay, you are going to die from the complications related to obesity. It's going to happen. If you stay at 400 pounds for your entire life, eventually those it's 100% of the people die from those complications. 100. It's not even like, hey, you have heart disease, you may have a heart attack, you may not. It's not one. I'm sorry, but that is a sad truth. It is the light that we are trying to put a bowl over, Cristy. It is the truth. And I have struggled with this. And when you and I were new to podcasting and we would kind of talk about this, I would get so nervous that somebody was going to write in and be like, I hate you. You don't love heavy people. I was a heavy person. I get it. It was not healthy for me to weigh 270 pounds. And if you're listening to me, it is not healthy for you to weigh that much. It is not okay in any sense of the word. And we are so scared. I, at least, maybe not you, Cristy, but I'm so scared of getting canceled that it has taken, how many years are you in podcasting? 200 plus episodes to get to this point where I'm actually saying this, and I still may get canceled for it. We'll see.
I just had a thought.
Cristy, they're killing themselves. So I'm watching people I love kill themselves. I'm so scared. I'm losing my saltiness when I don't speak the truth. And this has been very hard for me. Very, very hard.
I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
One of the frequent DMs that I get, or the subjects I get on DMs from people, or comments from people, just open comments that people post publicly, is they ask me whenever I see a heavy person, why don't you go tell them about Code Red? Why did you, an Uber driver, I've had, one time I was videotaping an Uber driver one time talking about or I shared that they were talking about the diet that they were on, that they lost 5 pounds in 2 months. And they were so excited about it. And it was costing them over $300 a month in shakes. And so someone said, why didn't you tell them about Code Red? And so am I worried about getting canceled if I don't tell them about Code Red? Absolutely not. I'm not worried about what they're going to think about me stepping up and saying, there is a better way that's a lot more effective, that's cheaper, that's going to save your life quicker. I'm not worried about getting canceled. The reason I don't talk about Code Red in those situations, just walk up to people willy-nilly, is the same reason I don't stand on the street corner and scream, you're going to hell if you don't accept Jesus Christ. It's because they're not in a position to hear it. They did not ask me my opinion. They're not in it. They're excited about their diet. They're trying to tell me about it because they want to spread the word. That's totally fine. It's not the time for me to say anything. They're not in the right place in their heart. It's not the right time. And that would be incredibly, and I can't think of anything more inappropriate than walking up to someone at the gym saying, I see you bust your butt in here every single day and you haven't lost any weight. Should you maybe address your diet instead? That would be incredibly inappropriate. I know it makes you cringe. And I know, sis, that you deal with this in the ER, but just the other day, you had some people ask you, and it was the right time.
It was the right time for me. They were like, well, tell me about you. I said something about being 100 pounds overweight previously. And so I understood some of the things she was going through. And she said, well, how'd you lose your weight? Which is always interesting. That means they're ready to hear. And yes. I was like, well, I actually work for a weight loss company and a nutrition company. And that kind of opened that door. But Cristy, I'm the same way. It has to be wrapped in love and people have to be ready to hear it. However, I saw a TikTok. I'm not on TikTok anymore. I got off social media for like a month, but I saw how like those reels come through your feed.
Yes.
It broke my heart, Cristy. It was very hard for me to see. The girl said, what I eat, how everyone does what I eat in a day, what I eat as a high-end model, what I eat as a bodybuilder, what I eat as an elite level gymnast. And they go through and they show like their kale smoothies, what Kim Kardashian eats in a day. Like, who cares? But she said, what I eat as an obese person who loves being it was another word like that, but loves being obese. It wasn't even like, hey, I'm obese, this is what I eat in a day. It was celebrating morbid, deadly, make no bones about it, deadly obesity, deadly. And it broke my heart. Now, was I like, oh, that's so gross? I don't care about her being heavy. I care about her dying someday. Mm-hmm. That's what I really care about. And it may be cool and funny to show you going through the drive-through multiple times, and you may think it's interesting and you're promoting this, but someday, ma'am, you're going to die from this. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. It truly does. I don't feel like better than, I don't feel like I'm a better example. I don't anything like that. I don't think I'm a better person because I eat differently than her. I just think I know the truth now because of Cristy. So it broke my heart. And Cristy, it was it was tough. I just want to say, and if you say anything like, how is this healthy? Oh, then you hate people that are obese. I don't hate people,
fat shaming.
but yeah, I'm not fat shaming, but I'm telling you, this is a deadly disease. It's a deadly roulette you're playing.
And the problem is the media won't report the truth. We had a woman who died in the Boise River. She was inner tubing down the river and she was morbidly obese. She got turned upside down and ended up drowning. And so when the paramedics pulled her out, they said that she had drowned. Well, the truth didn't come out until one of her friends said what they witnessed, and it was her being too morbidly obese to turn herself back over so that she could breathe. And she suffocated, and she drowned in the water because of her obesity, because she was too obese to get herself turned back over. The truth finally came out, but not because the media reported it. So even the media won't report the truth that death is coming sooner to those of you who do not take control of your obesity, that this is going to happen to you. Not this drowning. I'm just saying that these things are not okay and it's not right. And we need to actually say the truth, but we've got this fear of cancel culture.
That reminds me of a story. And again, I mean, we could tell stories all day, but one particularly sad thing, I took care of a lady in Yakima. No. Wenatchee, Washington. I worked in the ICU years ago there. It was a travel nurse contract. And she was the sweetest lady, but she was probably 600 pounds. And she was in the ICU because of airway problems. I mean, can you imagine that much weight on your airway? So we ended up, she was ventilated for a long time. And those of you that are medical, we ended up putting a trach in. So a trach is a hole in your throat that you breathe through into your airway this way, because the pressure of her neck pushed her airway down. She couldn't breathe normal. Her airway was so thick because her neck was so thick because of the obesity that we had to use an actual longer tube that you only use when you're going to intubate someone normally, called an endotracheal tube. They couldn't use a regular trach, like a Shiley trach. Anyway, people that are medical know what I'm talking about. So that was odd. Well, I loved her. I would talk to her. She couldn't talk very well. She, had the ventilator hooked up to the trach, but she would write me little notes and I would give her baths and we would watch TV in there while I was giving her a bath, which was quite the thing. Cause I mean, there was yeast in the folds. It was terrible. I really liked her. And one week I came back, I would do a week on, a week off, and I came back and she was gone. And she had been there for months in that ICU, in like a queen size bed in the ICU room. It was huge. And they said that she got a fat globule in that tube and they could not get it out and they could not put a new one in, because imagine your neck is so thick to get a tube passed through all the fat and the muscle and into the airway. It's really hard. And she died. And it's just like that lady suffocating to death. Now, do I think you're going to end up on a ventilator and have that happen? That's not what I'm saying. But you never know when you might be on an inner tube. I mean, that's what a horrible, horrible, horrible way to die. And it is killing people, not even just these freak accidents, Cristy, but heart disease, diabetes, all these things. It'd be like, Cristy, if we didn't say anything about smoking. We know smoking kills people. It's not even an arguable thing. And it's acceptable to say smoking kills, vaping kills, but it's not acceptable to say that obesity kills. And I don't understand this. And I'm tired of hiding my light under a bowl. I really am.
And like you said, Cari, we could tell stories all day long. I'm going to throw one more story out there. One of our former Code Red certified coaches, Kristen Small, from years ago, she lost 135 pounds in 8 months. And she said that a turning point for her was that she was so fat, she was so morbidly obese and she had a house fire that she could not rescue all of her kids and get them out of their rooms and get them down. And luckily everybody was okay. She got them all out, but she said, imagine having to choose from my 4 kids, which ones I was going to rescue, because I was too fat to move fast enough and too sick and in too much pain to move fast enough. I mean, guys, this list could go on and on and on. And this fear of cancel culture, we're comfortable talking about cigarettes now that we know, and we do know that obesity kills more people than drugs and alcohol combined. We know this. This is not controversial information. It's true. but we just won't say it. And now even medical professionals won't say it. No one wants to say it. And if you got a message in your heart, you've got to say whatever it is you feel like you need to say, but it's got to be said in love.
I guess the question I would ask myself, and I want everyone listening to think about this for you. Do I care more about hurting someone's feelings and cancel culture than I care more about telling you the truth, the message I have, than being salty, than bringing that to you in love? And I have a scripture for us, Cristy, 1 Peter 2:9. Here we go. For you are a chosen people. All my Christians are like, amen. A royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness and into his wonderful light. And another version says that you are a peculiar people, that you are, 2:9. Okay. My version doesn't say that. You are a peculiar people. You are salty. You are light. There is a message that you have been given. There is a message that you can say in love to other people. Just like the message burning in Cristy's heart every day is not about selling more vitamin D. It's not about getting her magnesium in people's house. You know what it is? Her message that she believes so much in is to make sure that you don't die in the river, to make sure that you can get your kids out in a house fire, to make sure that you can live a happy, healthy, productive life here on this earth you get one time around. And I'm so glad that Cristy was not afraid of being canceled so much that she was able to be salt and light to this world. Even though she's a peculiar person, I'm a peculiar person, some of the messages might be a little odd, but Cristy, you are a chosen person. You are. And you've been called out of darkness and into the light, and you are bringing light to people. And I'm just so proud to be part of this mission with you. And do we think about cancel culture? Yeah, you do think about it. But I have to care more about the individual lives of the people that are listening to me right now than I care more about what might happen to me for being truthful.
Well, that's why I have the program Code Red Arise. It's weight loss for churches, because God never intended for his people to battle obesity like we do in our churches. And God's people are sick and heavy, and we're dealing with we're dealing with diseases that we caused ourselves because no one wants to say it. Well, we are going to say it. We're not afraid of cancel culture, but we are approaching this whole thing with love. And I hope you feel our love. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle, the fear of cancel culture. We love you guys. We want to have you as a part of our community. And we want to move forward with you. We want to help you. We have lots of different ways to help you, whether it be mindset, or whether it be a 7-day total body reset that's only 7 days long, whether it be the 10-pound takedown, whether it be the Code Red Revolution book, whether it be the documentary, The Rebel Revolution, whether it be, God, there's just so many ways, the YouTube videos, the Instagram, the TikToks, there's so many ways to connect with us. We're here for you, so you don't have to walk this alone. Cari, thank you for joining me on this episode. You guys have a good one. Hey, I'm Cristy Code Red, and thank you for listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. If you want to stay connected to other rebels like you, join us in our private network. Our Code Red app is a one-stop shop, free from ads, algorithms, and censorship, and a place where you can see, listen, and watch everything Code Red. You'll be encouraged, motivated, and fired up to stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Get recipe ideas, tips, tricks, and help from coaches, mentors, and other rebels. You can also purchase products, programs, and coaching all right there in one place. And if you have any trouble navigating the app, we're right there to help you. Go to coderedlifestyle.com/APP to join for free. And I'll see you on the next episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle.